Ready? All right, everybody. Good evening for tonight's program. Tonight is Tod Raines, one of our own. He's going to be teaching us how to do spheres in various forms. So, Tod,
it's only one form of a sphere, so.
It depends. Big, small, right?
Thanks, John.
I will.
Okay. Appreciate it. Yeah, as John said, turning a sphere tonight, and I guess mostly the reason is because I turned one at open shop, and it just, kind of snowballed from there, pun. But anyway, I just started turning some at home and just kind of developed my own method. It's probably been done by others many times. So I don't use a jig or anything, so just my own hand tool. Ouch. But turning a sphere, it kind of really blended well with what Brian Evans did last month in doing the spindle duplication. He showed a lot about curves and forms and doing that kind of stuff. And a sphere is really a spindle turning. So, but what it helps you to do, at least in my case, is be able to get those round pieces that you need on certain things. Oh, sure. Okay. I'll bring this over. Yeah. So I'll bring it over here. To get rounded forms on either your hollow forms or your bowls, as you see over there, and just kind of funky things to decorate with. So my next attempt is to do bigger ones and then hollow them. So I haven't gotten that far yet, so we'll see how that goes. But tonight we're just turning a solid sphere. So we'll be doing basically this process. I'll put this in order somehow. And that. So this is Paduke. Obviously I turned this from a square. You turn it down and keep turning it down until you get a sphere. This one I finished with some of this cream filler wax that Jimmy Clues is marketing with Craig here at Wood World, and then lacquered. So, and I tried to buff it on my buffing system, and I got a couple of dents in by flying out of my hand. I'm sure that's happened to everybody. So let's kind of jump into the process. I'm hoping this will take us only about an hour at the most. So. Somebody give me a signal if I'm going over time. First thing we need to do is get a blank, and I like to use a blank that's about an inch or so longer than my diameter is going to be. And that's really just wasted away, but I do this all between centers, so I don't cup it in a chuck, or I don't chuck it up or anything. And so that's the size of blank I kind of choose. There's some that are a little bit longer, but and maybe you're better, you can waste less wood, but this is comfortable for me. So we basically get it on the lathe, and I'm not going to show too much of this part, just to kind of show you the setup of the lines and stuff. So obviously, the first step is to turn a cylinder, measure the diameter, and then we take and mark the center of the turning, and figure out where that center is, and then take that diameter, obviously split it to the radius, and mark a line on either side. Now, when I was going through this process, I started looking at the way other people turn spheres, with jigs that they had, or calipers, and then there's also all kinds of tools you can buy. One of the guys I think Brian talked about was John Siegel, and Brian used this technique as well. I had a hole cutter, cut a hole the size of the sphere that I wanted, basically. It's pretty close. This one works a bit better. And then I was making this part of it, which the John Siegel method, he uses this as a caliper as well as a sanding tool. But I took the offcut, and then I did what Brian did and cut little notches in here. So now I can go through and I did like 6 or 7 cylinders all at once, just marked them off, took the next one, marked it off, the next one, production it that way. So it's handy. I kind of just fell into that after Brian's demo. So you got the lines made up, and that's basically the starting point. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So this distance between Here is the radius, so it's half the diameter. So whatever this is, take half and you go there. So if I take this guy, which is pretty close to the radius I need, I don't know if you can see that in the monitor, it kind of lines up on the marks. So it's pretty close. And then that other tool helps as well. So good question, though. So the first thing to do is to basically waste this away a little bit. So I'm not going to do that right now because I've got one here already prepped. So we'll throw that one in. Well, that's annoying. Okay. Okay, so you've got it all checked up. It's rolling freely. The other hint I have for you here is, let me get that tape down, is to do you? Oh, we're on. Okay, we're back up. Good. Thank you. So the next thing that I do to help me aid in following these lines as I go through, so as you got this one chucked up, and I can see it here, I put a piece of blue tape on the back of the tool rest. I don't know where there we go. So just a piece of masking tape. I don't think you can see it from the top angle. Well, maybe you can see a little bit of it. And so once I get that set up, then I'm just eyeing down at the ways to make sure I'm parallel. That's pretty good. I don't ever move this tool rest after as I do the full ball, right? So the tool rest stays. So I'm going to find my marker, and I'm going to mark on the tape where those lines are. And it's really just an aid to help me, once I turn these edges away, to find out where those edges are in the next stage. So we do this in stages, so I've turned this down to whatever diameter, but they should be equal on both sides. So someone earlier was asking me about the calipers I think Soren Bergen creates, and it kind of does, you know, angled cuts along the way, but the essential technique is we're going to cut away a little bit here, and it's going to go there. I don't know if I can see that. I lost my monitor, but oh, that's a little lag there. And a little bit further down, and basically we're going to do practice cuts until we get a nice rounded corner on this edge. And all the practice cuts is really just practice, getting that muscle memory so you can know what you're doing. In order to figure that out, we take and guess what this, I guess I got my tape measure here, that's going to blow away on me. So we've got about 1 3/4 inches. So I take that 1 3/4 inches, basically I divide it in half on my, I'll put it the right way. On my, so it's 1 3/4 inches in half. That's 7/8, right? I think I got that right. So I'm going to mark off 7/8 on either side, approximately. And essentially, we're going to turn away this section here and this section here down to this point. You'll see as I go what I'm trying to explain, but and that basically gets you practice cuts as you go and kind of gives you a reference of what a good spherical or rounded shape should look like. And basically do that again and again as we go through. So that's the process. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to put my face shield on. And you'll kind of see what I'm going to do as we go along. Double check that. We're good there. Going the right way. Good. Done that before. Just using a simple spindle gouge. And again, like I said, we're just going to take this edge off as we go, so just a little practice cuts. Let me get that line defined. So essentially what I'm saying is that diameter is that diameter. Okay? So just rolling the tool over as we go, and just making practice cuts to get them, the used to the tool, used to how it goes. And we're trying to see if we got, this flat here equal to that length of flat. If not, we kind of know we got to go a bit more. Well, that side's done. Is there any better light? We're getting a bit of we got a little, I wonder if I got, hang on. Let's see if I got a, oh, no, it's a little too dark on this side. So. Will that reach into, oh, right up. Oh, can't get in that one. Okay, perfect. That's better. I can see this edge now. Okay. So we've met basically this line down to that, so this side's basically done. We repeat the exercise on the other side. And again, it's just, understanding how the tool moves, getting used to how it, how the muscles move and what stance you need so that the next time you do this, you know what needs to get done. So we're pretty much done at this point in this stage. Well, I had a thought in my head I was going to remind you of, but we'll figure it out next time. So the next thing to do is just to take these down further, a different diameter, and we'll get these lines a little closer, and we'll do the same thing. So we're just basically repeating what we've just done. But the whole idea, again, is to keep that muscle memory so you can know what you're doing. So I'm just taking a padan or a parting tool, whatever you need. Now I'm sighting on this mark I made on the tool rest to make sure I'm at the right diameter still, because my lines are going away. And we're about there. The depth here is kind of arbitrary, kind of whatever you're comfortable with. So that's good for me, so I'm going to match that diameter on this side just by eye. Again, lining up with the tape mark, or the mark on the tape, I should say, and digging in, and a little bit fat there, so. That's pretty close. So next step is really to repeat what we just did. So we'll take whatever that is, it's about an inch, and we'll split that ½ inch on either side. So about there, and I can't see that one, so I can move this over. About there. Does that make sense to everybody so far? Any questions? No, good. So we're basically going to get rid of what we just did. Kind of makes no sense, but in a way, it's just practice, right? So we're trying to get good for when we do the final cuts. Yeah, I just quickly measured. They're about an inch. So then I split that, and that's an inch right about there. Yeah, yeah. The idea is to make these equal so that you kind of, you don't have to, but it's easier that way. It's a little off, but you know, in terms of where the marks are, this one's a little closer than that one. But it doesn't really matter in the end. Once you, you know, with these pencil lines or these marks on the tool rest, you know where your end of your ball is. So, and again, it's just a matter of practicing. You get to a certain point, and you're kind of looking at it, and you're kind of seeing where the high spots are. So we want to take a look at it and see. This one's pretty good, but I've come right close to the line here, but I haven't gotten all the way down on my shoulder. So the curve is not quite right. It's maybe not exact, but it looks pretty good. But at some point along the way, you're going to get high spots. I've got a little high spot right here. And it may help you at some point to kind of highlight them with a marker or something like that. So there's a little high spot there. And obviously I got to cut down to the shoulder. So critical eye as you go along, looking at where the high spots are, and taking those down as you go. I got a little dimple there, so we'll try and take that out. Good enough for now. It's going to get wasted away again, but it's always good practice. So that's on to the next side, and we just repeat the same. And certain, I don't know, sometimes I'm better on the left side. I don't know, sometimes I'm better on the right. I think it really depends on the tool I'm using. This one is a pretty good little gouge, but there we go. So it looks pretty good, I think, on both sides. This one's maybe a bit more crowned here than this side, but I've kind of got the motion down. So on to the next stage, and basically we're repeating what we did before. So now we're going to take this down to probably 1/4 inch or so, maybe a little bit fatter on both sides and repeat the same process. That's fast. Okay. Lining up with the tape, mark on the tape, and kind of diving in. Okay, same thing. So we got, probably about this much on either side. So that's what we're shooting for now, taking those lines down to that core. I don't, when I get down to the final bit, I'll be using my spindle gouge to take some of this down here and on the other side, and then we'll cut it off with a saw and then use, you'll see the next step after that. So we're just about done. So the question is am I gonna end up with a sphere this big, or is it gonna be smaller? Who knows? well, hopefully it's this big, but yeah, stick around, I may get smaller. So as I'm turning this, I'm starting and I'm looking here, but once I start going, I start looking at the horizon up here, kind of jumping back and forth with my eye, trying to make sure I've got a good radius on my sphere. So. Dug in there a little bit. So I'm looking at this, and hopefully you guys can see a little bit of that too. Pull this in a little bit. Get a little contrast on the overhead. So I've got a little bit of a high spot here, here, and maybe up here. At least for my eye. It's kind of one of those things that's a little judgmental. So, but this helps me just kind of identify where I need to concentrate on cutting. And where I need to kind of skate over. It's a little bit better. Now the other side. It's kind of like the dark side of the moon on this side. It's kind of hard to see, but. It's all right, Ken. We'll make it work. So anybody got any questions so far, or? Hey? Is it looking like a ball, or is it getting, you know? Well, I've got to. There, it's looking pretty good. So at this stage, we're basically can't go any further with the parting tool. So, you know, I'm taking it down with the spindle gouge on the other end until we get, I don't know, probably 3/16 or something like that. There'll be a little bit of chatter as we go, and then as we get to that level, I start to level out this top flat. So, but I want to get a little bit wasted away here. And that's pretty good. I won't take it to chance. So, as I look at this, what do you guys think? Are there any high spots anywhere? I've got one. I think I got a flat still here. I'll take that away. Other side or this side? Right there? Yeah. Right there? Yeah. Thanks, David. You're a cheerleader. Otherwise, yeah, I think you guys are right. That's where I'll work on. Let's take a look, see what we got. Little fat, I guess, see that a little bit? There we go, there's a little gap there. Still pretty good that way. We're a little wide, a little fat here. Where'd that crayon go? A little fat in here. Let me turn this on a little bit. A little fat in here. I think once we take those down, we'll be close. Trying to pick up my edge. I'm having a hard time getting that edge to catch. There we go. Let's try the other side. Getting close. Yeah, it's all right. You can do better, eh, David? Yeah. I'm still a little high, so, well, not that kind of high. Right in there. Right in there. So before I had made this thing, I was just using regular calipers and checking. So you can do calipers as well. It works just fine. In fact, it's better because you know, if you do screw up, yeah, this is going to be too big if you take some out of it. So. Looks pretty good. So we'll call that pretty much done. Now, the way to take it off is I've got the little handsaw here, and that's how we're going to take it off. But I'm going to waste it away a little bit. Just slacking off the tension on the tailstock helps you get the saw through it a little bit better. I just kind of saw it around a little bit until it's breaking, and then get the other side. There we go. You could. Yeah, you could do that at that time. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I just don't do that. So, but because I put it in the cup centers and then sand. So, but that's a good idea. Nothing wrong with that idea. So the ball is pretty much done, but obviously you see we've got that nib in the middle. Let me see, where am I at here? So we're pretty good. There's the other diameter right there. Not too bad. So then we'll take these ends off on the. I got a little high spot right there. It sands out pretty quick. I won't do any sanding tonight, but I'll kind of show the process, the setup. Now, do I have a knockout bar? Is there one in the box? I didn't see it. Does anybody see it, or am I blind? Yeah. Is someone getting me one? Oh, perfect. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Okay, so to finish them off, little cup centers, that's kind of in the way. Move that. So I've got a few here. I made one with a Morris taper. This is a hardwood, it's oak or something, and then a really soft pine, something that's not going to damage your ball. You know, Paduke is pretty hard, so it's not so bad. So that's easy enough to make, and you just throw that in there. You can use a cup, or I mean a chuck if you have that one of those, or I just drill a 3/4 inch hole. I took the tailstock out, I do need that. Drill a hole in that and slip that over the end. I've got a softer one in pine. This one's for a chuck, so however you can attach these cup centers is the way to go. Some people have, and I'm going to make one, an adapter for this threading, and I have it threaded on there. But this works relatively well. You know, it's quick and easy. So, well, maybe we'll get enough quill. We'll just do it that way. Now, when you put it back in the cup centers, I put it off axis, 90 degrees. So there's the 3 axes. This is the way we turned it. We'll go this way, and then we'll go the third way, which is this way. Or sorry, now I'm confused. It's a sphere. There's 3 sides to it, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll leave you there. So getting this thing set, I don't need the tool rest anymore, so you can get rid of that. It's really just a matter of kind of getting it in there, depending on how your cup centers align and stuff. And it'll get on there. You can use, I can use the tool rest and take that nib off. Now maybe I'll do that quickly. I skipped ahead too much. So when I did this in practice, it didn't always work out, so I'm not going to do a lot of it. Sometimes it's just better to sand it away. But as this goes around, we'll hopefully get these nibs as we cut them. And it appears that we should hit just those. We might hit a bit of this here, so. It's in there pretty tight, not going to go anywhere. So these are very light cuts, kind of rubbing the bevel just to see where I'm at, and just bring it down a little bit and just kind of take a very little bit off and just see where we're at. And I've removed that one, and I'm getting a bit of cut here, so my ball is not quite, means I've got a fat line right across here. So, yeah. Most of that will sand out. We'll take it down a little bit more. Grab this little thing again. It's looking pretty good. So at this point, I think I would just play it safe and start sanding, because I've got the nub off there. This one I'm not hitting. I'm hitting mostly here. So, and sanding is for me a simple process. I use strip sandpaper, whatever you got around, and just kind of hold it as you go, low speed. And then I crank this off, rotate it, crank it up again. Sometimes it doesn't quite sit right. And that's it. You've got a bowl. So I've got other ones up here. You know, I've turned them wet, and when they turn wet, they obviously shrink and crack and go all funky. This was oak, and I got one of the free wood calls I think Ken sent out a month or so ago. And it cracked almost halfway through the thing, and it was wide crack. You could stick a paper clip in it after about a week sitting in the house. And then after another week and a half, it closed right up and just kind of shrunk in the sides. So it's very strange how spheres heal themselves. Because this one did the same thing, actually, the other one. But it's out around, but it had a huge crack right through the middle, and then it healed itself up. It's very strange. And the Paduk stuff, this is dry, so it's not going to move. So that's the demo. If you want to come up and take a look at them, ask questions or whatever. What's the process? So good, good. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. No, what I'll do, it's not. I do have a, I don't know, A through O. I don't know how many that is. Steps. What I'll do is I'll send it to Ken, and you can post it on the newsletter. It's really just a step-by-step of what I did.
If you have questions, let me know. I'll bring the mic around.
Yes, Larry.
Yeah. Can you tell me, do you use a traditional grind just as a matter of preference, or is it just...
Yeah, it is.
Is it easier to use?
Well, you know, when I did the practice over at Brian's shop, I was using, where, oh, okay, there it is. So I was using a Thompson gouge when I was at Brian's shop practicing, and then I went home and turned these partially turned ones with my old Sorby tool. And it's just a traditional grind, and I actually found that this one worked better. It's a smaller tool. It's not quite as pointy as this one, so you can see the fingernails on that. So I actually prefer this one for doing what I just did. I do have a larger one that actually works relatively well, but the small one just seemed to work. So it's factory ground, and I just kept that same shape. Any other questions? Well, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll be here Saturday morning if you guys want any help, turn in any, or yes. Spray deft is what I've got on the glossy one there. I used some oils on these other ones. This is just an oil and a buffing wax, but well, exactly as you see it. I turned this little bowl a long time ago, and it just so happens it works as a good finishing stand. So
Spray half of it and then turn it over when it dries?
yeah, the lacquer dries within 3 minutes, and I just rotate it.
Oil you don't have to worry about. I've done that with oil, and you just set it on something.
And the cream filler I actually put on after I finished the ball and I sanded it and all that stuff to probably 400. I just put the cream filler on by hand and rubbed it in, wiped it off, and then I finished it. So I didn't put any oil or anything on this prior to putting the gold cream filler in. So I'll probably do that same thing with this one with a white cream filler and see how that looks. So. You bet. Thank you,
All right,
folks.
we can get a couple people to help us clean up. We'll be good. Pick up chairs, and we'll be good. Thank you.
Am I off? No, I'm still on. You bet. Yeah.